There's something unique that makes Ao Haru Ride special. It's an emotional story with a priceless lesson we can learn and apply to our own lives. And I'll share what that special something is at the end of the video. Ao Haru Ride is a love story between Futaba and Ko. Futaba doesn't like boys. She finds them barbaric and difficult to be around. But there was this one boy, Ko, who she did like. Ko was kind and gentle. He was soft and short, almost like a girl. And so, Ko had pulled on Futaba's heartstrings, not with love or charm, but with curiosity, because she felt different towards him compared to all the other boys. Warning: if you've not yet read the manga or watched the anime, then please don't watch this video until you have, because Ao Haru Ride is one of my favourite stories, and I don't want to be responsible for ruining it for you. Later that day, Futaba was running through the rain. She hid beneath a shelter to avoid getting wet, and when she poked her little head around the corner, she saw Ko was waiting on the other side. The two of them had beautiful chemistry. They were soulmates. It was obvious they were supposed to be together. Deep down, Futaba knew she loved Ko, but she was afraid and she didn't want to admit it, not even to herself. And so, she just asked him if he'd be going to the festival. The two of them agreed to meet at 7 o'clock at the clock tower. But Ko never showed up, and Futaba was left waiting by herself. Futaba's mind began spinning round in circles, trying to dig up every and any reason Ko might have abandoned her. Perhaps he didn't even mean to ask her out in the first place. She was confused and upset, and Futaba never got the chance to see Ko again. After her summer break, she discovered he'd moved schools and was living in a different city, and now she'd never get the chance to tell Ko that she loved him. As time went by, Futaba never stopped thinking about Ko. She'd look up at the sky, wondering if he was looking up at the same sky too. She wondered if Ko was thinking about her just as much. Probably not, she would say to herself. A few years later, the two of them were reunited. Ko had returned, and they were in the same school together. But Ko had changed. He used to be shy and short, but now he was tall and confident. Futaba and Ko bumped into each other beneath the same shelter, and Futaba felt like she was revisiting the happiest day of her life. This was the beginning of the new romance for her. But then, Ko told her to forget about it, because the two of them had changed. Throughout the story, Futaba desperately tries to find the old Ko. She wants to find the old Ko that she fell in love with all those years ago. But Ko won't let her in. He won't communicate with her properly, and with every day that goes by, she feels like he's slipping away. And while Futaba was trying to discover the old Ko, she starts getting pursued by a boy called Toma. Toma was kind and caring, and he was warm towards her, almost the exact opposite of Ko. And as time went by, Toma finally asked Futaba to be his girlfriend. She wasn't entirely sure of herself, but she agreed. After all, Toma seemed like the perfect guy. He was sweet and kind and caring, but no matter how much Futaba wanted to love him, she couldn't help wonder why she still loved Ko. It didn't make sense to her. Toma was so warm and comforting to be around, and yet she couldn't force herself to love him. We find out Ko had been in love with Futaba the whole time, and now he has to watch as she lives her life in a relationship with another boy. He knows he should have confessed his feelings a long time ago, but he was struggling with the grief of losing his mother. Futaba accompanies Ko as a friend as he walks around his old neighbourhood. She helps him confront his past. Ko says goodbye to his mother and feels ready to move on with his life. Ko then admits he's been in love with Futaba. He loved her the whole time, even when they switched schools, and just like Futaba, he never stopped thinking about her either. He even doodled her name in his notebook, and later in the story, named his cat after her too. And even though Futaba is with Toma now, Ko knows he's the one who should be with her, because they shared a special connection from the start of the story. They were soulmates. Futaba feels crushed and overwhelmed with emotion. She doesn't know what she's supposed to do, and just like she did at the beginning of the story, she starts worrying about what everybody else thinks of her. And this is when Futaba snaps, and she teaches herself an important lesson. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, she just focuses on what's meaningful to her and what she really cares about. Futaba breaks up with Toma, and her and Ko agree to meet at the clock tower again, just like they were supposed to at the beginning of the story. Futaba and Ko confess their love for each other, and finally, their relationship begins. And no matter how much turmoil they would experience throughout the story, their love for each other never once wavered. Futaba and Ko develop as a couple, and begin their new lives together. They hold each other and kiss beneath the same shelter they were at the start of the story. Ao Haru Ride is a simple, yet complex and emotional story. It's a story that both breaks and warms your heart. But I believe there's a special lesson we can learn from this story, a lesson that can be carried into our own lives. They'd experienced so much doubt, confusion and sadness throughout the whole story, but no matter how bad things got, they kept moving forwards, and they kept moving forwards towards something that was meaningful and important to them. But before they could reach that place, they needed to grow. Futaba was worrying too much about other people's opinions, and on this journey, she learned to let go and start focusing on what's really meaningful to her. Ko was spending too much time holding onto the past, and he was too cowardly to communicate properly. But he learned to tell Futaba how he was really feeling. And as the two of them grow throughout the story, they finally reached the place they were supposed to be. They were together. And to me, that's what made this story so special. It taught me to stop lying to myself, and to stop worrying about what other people think of me, and to focus on what's important to me instead. That might sound far too melodramatic, but I would like to think this story had a similar positive effect on your life too.